I think we're about ready to go here. Good afternoon. Um, we had a doctor's appointment out of town this morning, and I never dreamt I'd be back in time to do this. And let me see if I figure out how to turn my volume down. Okay, so we got our heart done on Tuesday. And, well, let's see, this isn't going to work. So now I have cut my border, the inner border pieces. You need a 2-inch strip. This is going to drive me crazy. I don't know if you guys can hear it. And, oh. Where's my volume? Oh, there we go. I think I got it. Anyway, you cut one strip of your background fabric, 2 inches by the width of fabric, and then you can recut it. I guess it didn't work. 2 inches by the width of fabric, and then you can recut it. I guess it didn't work. And then you should be able to cut if you have a 40. I think 42 inches is enough. Length, you cut two 9.5-inch strips and you cut two 12.5-inch strips. So I'm just going to join those here. And I always join on the foundation side because we do have maybe some points. That come out to the edge. So if I sew on the foundation side, I'll be sure to keep that sharp point. Just match up the ends and the edges, and here in the middle. So I hope everybody's been having a good day. I'm amazed we made it back. Traffic was great. We're just going to sew on the line. This is the pretty, but see, we have a point right here. And this will make sure that our point stays good. And I'm a bad girl. I don't back stitch on either end till I get out to the very end of the block. And then I'm going to take that to the ironing mat and press it open. You guys, I got a crazy idea. I'm fine. How are you? I got a crazy idea the other night after I finished this block. And I thought, you know what? It'd be really cool to make 4 of these and make a table topper a little bigger. I think I figured it would come out to about 36 inches square, and have a heart going in each direction. So no matter where you sit at the table, you're going to have one heart at the proper orientation for you. And that will fit my table much better. So I got to figure out how I'm going to do the flying geese. But I'll do that before Saturday so I can show you. And of course, then I'll have to do the pattern, but that will be real simple to do. And of course, one idea leads you to another one. I think I mentioned it on Tuesday, that I think this would make an awesome baby quilt, all in pastels. So I will have to do the math and figure that out and get that done too. And there's a chance it might be done before Saturday. Not the quilt, but the pattern before Saturday. I want to finish projects for you, but I don't want to bore you. So I may go back and revisit some of these ideas later. Oops, I think I cut that just a hair too long. Oh, let's see, this is supposed to be 12. Whoa, gonna destroy everything here. That might work. Yeah. Measure just, what do they say? Measure twice, cut once. Yeah, that's just a skosh too long. There we go. I want to put a pin to hold that seam allowance to go the right direction. And of course, we want to flip it over so we can do it. Keep our edges even. See, there's another point. And the last border piece. I'm so excited that we're going to be home for a while. Most of you know that we normally are on the road more than we're home doing shows. And we've decided to cut back on the shows because it was getting impossible for me to do anything like this, or took me so long to get one pattern done and written. When I do a pattern, I come up with the idea and then I make my first one and make any changes. Then I have to make a second one so I can take photos for the pattern. And then usually Laura will do a test run, make sure that it's right. So it's quite a lot involved when you design and write a pattern. And traveling, because I do most all the driving, so I by the time we get to a hotel at night, I'm exhausted. I don't want to get my computer out. And so it takes me a long time. So we decided to cut back on shows and let me do what I love to do the most. So there is our block. I'm going to put it over here on my terribly messy design wall. I had a shop cat for a while, and she went crazy with the fabric on the design wall. So I got some new stuff, but getting the time to do it, and this is what we got done the other day on the flying geese strip on one of them. Whoops, I guess it'd help if I... So we're going to finish this up and show you how to put that on. Let's see. And I have all my pieces cut in order. On this particular one, all 4 of the flying geese border blocks are all going to be identical. So they are stacked up and ready to go. And of course you can see I'm doing something just a little bit different. I'm doing one side of the background in my background fabric and the other side in a dark one. I told you I hate threads. Next piece. Put right sides together, and I kind of center it down here. It really doesn't matter how you do it. You just kind of want to get it evenly across. Right sides together, edges close to even. And if your edges don't stay perfectly even, it's really okay as long as you sew on the line, because it's the line that gives you that accuracy. See, it slipped a little bit there. You can see the dark. But I sewed on the line, so when I open it up, it should be fine. As long as you've got at least 1/8 of an inch in your seam allowance, if it scoots on you, that's fine. Nothing to worry about. See, it got it off a little bit there. But I did sew on the line. And press that good, and there's our beautiful point. Just so easy. It just, you know, I used to get so nervous making flying geese, and doesn't bother me at all now. Fold that back. And turn that over. And this, which side did I trim? No, one to the other side first. 2021. I usually, when I teach, I usually just do one at a time because I want you to get in the habit of going numerically. When I'm home, I do both sides, cut both sides at the same time. You know, on this one trip to the cutting board, just saves a little bit of time. Let's see. Right sides together, and I'm going to push it just a little further. I mentioned that the other day. When you're putting a light piece onto a dark piece, line it up, and then just push it just a tad, because you don't want, when you open this up, if it was on a real dark piece like the previous one, you really want to make sure that the edge of this top light piece goes just a couple of threads past the fabric underneath, because when you stitch this, then open it up and press it, you don't want a shadow of the dark fabric underneath to show through. And the one thing about paper piecing or foundation piecing versus traditional piecing is there is a way you can change which way your seam allowance goes, but it's a real pain. So if you just push that top fabric that you're adding just a thread or two past the one underneath, you won't get a shadow. And again, because you're sewing on the line and not relying on a perfect cut and a perfect 1/4 inch seam, it's going to be accurate and you won't have a shadow. We talked about this the other day too, if you weren't here. I use the lowest steam setting I can get on my iron. And I know a lot of quilters don't like steam, and that's really okay. You don't need to use steam. I just feel like I get a better, flatter seam when I do. But it's entirely up to you. There are no quilt police, as I'm often reminded. My tips and tricks and all that are just to get you started, and you'll find your own technique, your own favorite methods, and that's what I want you to do. You know, when I teach a class, somebody will come up and, you know, they'll be doing it a little differently than me, but it works. And who am I to say what's right or what's wrong? The main point is that you get good results, and this helps. I'm not sure I'd have patience to do much traditional piecing anymore. You know, I know when I cut for a traditional quilt, I get so nervous. I don't know about the rest of you, but I get so nervous because it's been pointed out to me many times that if you don't make the perfect cut, nothing thereafter will be perfect. And I figure if you're going to spend all this time and all the money on the fabric, you want it to be as good as it can be. I once took a class from an instructor who said, oh, if it's close, it's fine. And in some projects, that's absolutely correct. But for me, I don't want people looking at it and pointing out where points don't, you know, where I've cut off my points or seams don't line up. Call me crazy. But if I can avoid all those problems, I want to. So, but it's whatever, what is that saying? Whatever floats your boat, do what you want the way you want. I'm just here to kind of give you a little bit of a guide to get in there. And I have to say, I have loved seeing customers' quilts. Don't we all of us quilters love seeing all the eye candy? Oh, okay. We're up to the favorite one. Let's cut for the next two sides. Thought I had ghosts in the house. It's a bird outside the window. Let's line this up. Remember the point here, the piece that I'm adding, I lined that point up with a seam line underneath. And then my favorite piece, the last piece for this flying geese section. And this one, the line goes all the way out to the broken line. It's no more seams going to cross this, so we're going to run it all the way out to the edge. Now we'll press that open. And then I'm going to give the whole thing a good pressing. Make sure everything looks good. And then I'm going to turn it over. And if you were with me on Tuesday, remember when I started, I did a basting stitch between the solid line and the broken line. I call it a basting stitch, but I use the same length stitch I use on everything. So now I'm going to do that around, all the way around. And you want to just make sure you don't distort your block or your foundation. So these corners at the top aren't attached otherwise. So I like to hold them, the foundation and the fabric together in the right place. I'm so excited. I'm hoping this weekend, for those of you who have seen our Stars of the Family quilt, I am really excited. I am ready to put it on the long arm and start quilting. I have been waiting a long time to have the time to do that. Okay, one more quick pressing. And then we're going to set it on our cutting mat with the foundation side facing up, and get my ruler. We'll talk about that later. And I'm going to trim 1/4 inch from the solid line. I swear I just changed. Change the blade. And across the top, there we are. Down the other side. And across the bottom. And there we have one strip done. Let me grab my block. Now, when we add this to the, yeah, we're live right now, to the block, obviously, it's longer than the block. So we're going to do partial seam. You can do it either this way or this way, because all 4 strips that go around the block are the exact same as this. This will end up the width of 2 that are turned 90 degrees. So we're going to do a partial seam on this. So I'm going to line up the bottom. Just match those corners. And I want to make sure, let me put a pin in this here. You see, let me show you here. Whoops. On this one, I'm starting here and going to go up. And then up here at the top, you see, the next one's going to go that way, and then back over here to go across the bottom of this one we're putting on right now. So we want to make sure up here that matches right at 1/4, that we have 1/4 inch from here to the end of this fabric. And you can pretty much line that up with this fabric underneath, that seam allowance that we cut to 1/4 inch. Makes it pretty simple. And then I'm just going to put a couple pins just because I want my edges to stay even. And again, I'm sewing with the foundation side facing up, so I don't cut the corners off of my flying geese. There we go. And now I will do a little back stitch there to tack that, or keep it. And then we're just going to stitch up the side on the line on the foundation. And I'm going to stop 1 flying geese before the end. And And we do that because when we go to add this one, we want to fold this back out of the way. I moved my clips. We'll pin this back. And then we'll add the next one. Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to open this up, add this one across the bottom. My phone does not want to. Whoops.